Well, joining us now is Mr. Io Johnson. He's an African expert over in London on the phone to tell us more about this. Mr. Johnson, Chadian President Idris Deby is under threat again from rebel forces. Is this a bigger, more powerful push than what we saw earlier this year?
Yes, it would appear so. Clearly, the rebels have come totally prepared, heavily armed, loads of convoys of trucks, and they've been able to push the government troops back. Clearly, the European peace force that are there are shocked. They're well prepared for this, and somehow they've been able to take control of the area again. But I must say this is a serious push, but it's in line with many other pushes that we've had previously, where the rebels have tried and they've been pushed back. As we know, this is reflective of the conflict between the two countries, both Chad and the Sudan, and they've both been accused of carrying out a proxy war, using rebels from both sides to support each other's propaganda. But yet still, I must say that this is a massive push.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, Chad says the rebels are backed by Sudan, and both countries are oil-producing nations. Can you tell us about how this rebel advance fits into the wider political situation?
Yes. Well, the political mix is that the Chadians have always accused the Sudanese of supporting rebels, and vice versa with the Sudanese themselves. And it's actually been fueled primarily by the Darfur conflict. The Sudanese government is convinced that the Chadian government is supporting those rebels that are there, that are fighting them, and both sides do not trust one another, and it's been going on for some time. And the reality is that the local people are dying, people are displaced, and a lot of communities are still living in camps. And I'm afraid this war, or this proxy war, as we would like to describe it, will still go on for some time to come. The concern that we have is that it may escalate to something far serious than what we're seeing currently, and that's a possibility. But again, the European peace force that are there have tried to stabilize the situation. They, in many respects, have been accused of making the situation far worse than it really is, because they've been training the Chadian army, and of course the Sudanese have not been too happy about that. There's some quarters of them being sponsored by other countries around the world.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, last question. Chad's president, Idris Deby, he's no stranger to fighting for survival. I mean, overall, where do you see Chad headed under the current circumstances?
Well, the Chadian president himself, if you think about it, he himself came to power, a former coup leader. He took over power, I think it was in 2006, following a very successful election. 70% of the population supported him. But the Chadian people, the Chadian government, I think what we may say is that they got some very trying times ahead, because if you're constantly in conflict with your neighbors, if you can't find a compromise, if this so-called rebel attack, both sides tit for tat, continues, then I'm afraid we're going to find a lot of people being displaced, a lot of families being affected, and the communities on both sides will be completely affected, and that's not very good.
Okay, Io Johnson, African expert in London, thank you so much for your thoughts.